question that I'd like to ask the whole group is reflecting on your experience with the NAFTA program, and which means working in teams, doing the traveling, which we all know is quite stressful in many ways, interacting with your clients, interacting with the different presenters. What did you say that you learned about what being a good manager is? What are the qualities of a good manager? What did you see as examples of either good management, bad management? Of course, you know, we don't want to diss anybody or in that sense, but just what did you see as in yourself, in your teammates, in what are the qualities of being a good manager that you learned from this NAFTA experience? So who would like to start us off on that? Sofiane, otra vez?
Well, obviously it's always a challenge to live with people that you don't know and you get to know them over time. Part of the experience that we had last week, so we get to know each other, and obviously we don't always agree on our decisions, our choices, and what we share, what we agree on or we disagree. So I think it's just a human being reaction, and website driver issues at the same time. Maybe I should just fasten my belt. Anyways, yeah. So overall, I think it was an amazing week. And again, I want to go back. I will always keep just the best out of everything, and I'm definitely pumped up due to our last visit with the Bombardier. Things are falling in their place, and hopefully we're just gonna finish this and become. I mean, I'm making friends out of it. I mean, I'm here to have connections, to get to know people, and you know, probably I'll stay in touch with Patrick, with James, Yvonne, Dr. Kelly, and Sophia May. So for me, it was like from the human side, it was an amazing experience. I don't know what Patrick thinks.
Yes, what do you think, Patrick?
Well, this has been a wonderful experience. You know, we've gone to you know, Montreal, Mexico, and San Diego, and it's really been a wonderful experience. You know, interacting with top managers. I've really learned a lot from this experience. You know, I've discovered some like character traits about me and about other people. You know, just by interacting with them. So I've noticed that to be a good manager, you have to be people's friendly. You have to be able to interact with people. You have to be down to earth. You have to be ask a lot of questions. You have to treat everyone equally. So it's really been great. Today is just like a special day for me because we had to go to a corporate and our project got finalized there, and we also had to meet Bombardier face to face, which was wonderful because we now know what we need to do. The project has been defined, so it's really exciting. I know Mendoza, in the past never had time to kind of break this down for us, but we understand he has a busy schedule. But I believe today was just an incredible day. That's all I have.
Yeah, well, my question for Patrick was, I mean, he just can explain us how he managed to come back to his room at 4 o'clock, knocking on the windows, and be in shape at 8.
That's what I call
good time management.
Adapting and overcoming certain circumstances. So adapting and overcoming. That's pretty much how that's my philosophy of life. So if I have to come back at 4 in the morning, I don't think it's going to stop me from not doing my job at 6 o'clock. So I can sleep for 2 hours. So
wow.
That's just my sister.
That's part of the manager. Yeah. Okay, maybe I'll go next. So for me, I mean, I see myself as a kind of a supervisor in this role. I mean, of course I'm a professor, but I'm also a supervisor of these teams and people reporting. And so it's like, well, what makes a good supervisor? I'd like to pick up on what Patrick says, adaptive and flexible. If you're going to do international business like what we've done, you have to be adaptive, you have to be flexible. I'd like to add a word that I don't always embody, which is unflappable. I don't know if you know that expression. Unflappable means like nothing phases you. And I could say that a manager is meant to be at that level. And I can say to the whole group, make an amends to the group because, you know, for me, unflappable means you don't lose your cool. So I will make an amends to the group to say I lost my temper on the steps of the Mexico City campus while you guys were coming back. And, you know, that's, I mean, sure, there was a point that was there, but it's also losing your temper is not managerial. You know, that's not what we do as managers. And so for me, I'm learning too. I mean, of course, it's a pressure cooker, you know, in terms of the heat, the running from one appointment to the next, and all the arrangements that have to be made. But those are the things that stand out to me. Can you deal with frustration? Can you deal with uncertainty? Can you deal with ambiguity? Can you keep a steady demeanor? You know, are you making things more difficult for people, or are you making things less difficult? And I think a manager has to be there to facilitate things. So anyway, that's, you know, for me, I believe in continuous learning, and I certainly don't have all these things figured out. And I've learned a lot from working with the group. Amazing things I've learned from working, especially on the project. So maybe Sophia May, do you want to add some thoughts?
From the projects, from this trip, I have certainly learned a lot. A lot about myself, a lot about the NAFTA, a lot about the people I work with, a lot about academia. I have learned a lot. And one of the things that really stood out to me was when we were at A&P Solutions yesterday, and Rosario Pernia said one thing about managing people is treating them, making sure they understand that they're part of the business. Don't treat them like they're just staff. It's more a family model, and that is what has really worked for them. And she said motivating people using money can only go so far. The people need to buy in your ideologies and feel like a part of the business. They'll give it their all, and that is one thing that kept on coming from all the companies that we talked to that were very, very profitable, that were streamlined, that had really good operations. That's one thing that I took from yesterday's meeting. Bringing that to our team dynamics, I feel that there could have been a lot more communication, more definition in the projects, in expectations. That would have been a really nice thing. And for me, what I learned about myself, like Dr. Kelly said, I thought nothing would faze me. That's who I thought I was. But being here in the NAFTA, I have realized that I'm anal about certain things. Time, for instance, I realized that for me, making an appointment means 10 o'clock means 10 o'clock, and I get anal about that. I thought it wouldn't faze me. I just found out in the NAFTA context that it would faze me. So, and also adapting when you plan, get a schedule and say this is what it's going to be, and then last minute it changes. Sometimes it throws me off balance, and like Dr. Kelly said, you need to figure out how to adapt to it last minute when something changes. Be able to adapt to it. That's something that I thought I did, but with the project, working with a group of people, pressure, the close environment and everything, I realized that there's more I need to learn on that. There's more I need to work on that, the adaptability part. And then after, I realized that there are more opportunities in Mexico than I ever thought were present. Because everybody thinks about the US, this leader in so many things and things. Oh, the tons, everything is in the US, like the US is the leader in this, in that. But we realized from this NAFTA project that Mexico is a leader, is one of the leaders in geothermal energy. Mexico benchmarks so many things, and there's so many opportunities that the government orders with grants and regulations that the US necessarily doesn't offer, or Canada. And that was an eye-opener for me, and huge learning experience. I wouldn't have gone to research that, so NAFTA certainly gave me the opportunity to get that firsthand. Thanks.
My turn.
Okay. Do you want to go ahead?
Okay, so I learned a lot. Just to echo, other people's ideas.
Sure.
Being adaptive, very important. Things changed on, within the 3 weeks, but they changed for the better. And they may have changed in an hour or so, but that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. and it doesn't mean that communication was that much of an issue. I think that's actually a blind alley. It was very important to be adaptive, very important to be flexible. It was also very important for us to be knowledgeable, because with the amount of people that we were trying to impress, we really couldn't mess around. One thing I found as well was that quite often questions were asked, and it took a while to get to the point of the question, and our presenters picked up on that, definitely. A lot of them tended to reply from those kind of questions with, I'm not sure if I follow you, but I'll try and answer anyway. That showed their competencies more than ours. And the other thing is,
So is that being succinct? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Succinct, concise.
Yeah.
I would say, the best thing to do when thinking about a question is to write it down first. See what it looks like, because that's what a lot of our presenters did as well. They wrote down the question, and then they answered it. They knew what they were talking about by then. And then the other thing is, I would say, with the group we were a small group, so we had...
A real what? Sorry?
We were a small group, and
yes.
We had some strengths, we had some weaknesses. Because we were a small group, I think the weaknesses really showed more than perhaps they would in a large group.
I think so. I agree. I mean, having led a larger group, it's easier. People have other people they can talk to and kind of go off and reform, and that kind of absorbs some of the frustration. In a smaller group, it's more kind of in your face.
Yeah, and if you have your agenda, if you're wrapped up in your own agenda and you let things get to you, you're not going to get enough out of this program, because it is very intensive. It's very easy to lose your cool. I'm going to say I never lost my cool. I did a really good job. I'm very pleased.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you, James.
I think both from the teaching assistant role, I think I've done very well there.
Oh,
and also from from actually being a student on the program, I think I've been very good there as well. So I'm under no illusions. I've got a lot to learn, but this has really improved me a lot. So I feel like if I went out there now, I would be a good manager. Not the best, but I've got a lot to learn, but I think I have the strengths now to be a good manager.
Yay.
So I'm pretty pleased with that.
Cool. Fantastic. Yvonne, do you want to do Yvonne? And I have one more thing to say.
¿Español o...?
Sí, lo voy a hacer en español. Bueno, para mí este programa ha sido completamente una experiencia increíble. Me encantó, o sea, al principio pues obviamente tienes planeado una cosa y sale completamente diferente, pero la verdad ahorita en este momento, la verdad, si me preguntarían ¿quieres volver a hacer el programa? 100%, o sea, es completamente un programa súper original, tienes muchas áreas de oportunidad. Realmente me doy cuenta que es todo un reto, la verdad, lo que son las diferentes culturas. Tenemos gente aquí de Canadá, Inglaterra, Camerún, o sea, de diferentes, México, o sea, la verdad me encantó, es toda una combinación, está padrísimo. El aspecto de el hacer negocios es increíble, o sea, simplemente es ver que México cuenta con todos los recursos naturales, que realmente tenemos todas las oportunidades para poder hacer un México mejor, ¿no? O sea, la verdad tienes la gente, tienes empresas muy buenas, lo que falta es un poquito más de actitud, es más el emprender, el ser un poco más innovador, el que México sí puede hacer las cosas con la ayuda de extranjeros que nos pueden ayudar a decir, sabes que esto es lo que necesita tu país, esto es como lo que puedes hacer, necesitamos como cambiar un poquito nuestra forma de ser, adaptarnos a las condiciones para ahora sí poder México que pueda participar, ¿no? Pues la verdad estoy súper encantada con este programa, la verdad me encantó, es muchísimo, tengo que aprender muchas cosas, la verdad agradezco a cada uno de ustedes, estoy muy agradecida a la doctora Kelly, la verdad mis respetos, es una persona muy bien, sabe hacer sus cosas. James, muchísimas gracias, sé que hiciste todo el trabajo pesado, el estar haciendo todo el área de organizar las citas y todo eso fue increíble. A cada uno de mis compañeros que realmente hasta ahorita puedo decir que son unos grandes amigos, he aprendido mucho de ustedes y pues ha sido una experiencia muy padre. Me encantó este programa y pues seguimos adelante.